I'm a professor at USC Annenberg. I've been there for 2 years. I teach web journalism. Prior to going to USC, I was in the newsroom, web newsroom, since 98, 99. And so I consider myself a web journalist. And my specialty, if I have one, is the moment journalism and technology meet. I'm the nerd in the middle that translates and experiments. I also run a chat called WJ Chat on Wednesday. My Twitter handle is webjournalist, @webjournalist, and I blog on occasion for OJR.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about what your group's been talking about, and is about media literacy or...
The first task is, journalism, media, education. And we spent the majority of the time kind of trying to frame and reframe the task and by that I mean, a lot of folks dismiss higher education, J schools, then other folks dismiss newsrooms, they can't be saved, what's the point, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like this back and forth and trying to frame it right. And I think we, towards the end, hit on something where it's just with nonprofits like Knight, the ability for them to fund things that have, stronger, more direct impact. Not stopping the other things that they do, which is also fantastic, but investing in startups indirectly by either getting a J school student to be a resident or at least a year resident in these startups as a staffer. So these startups grow their staff without having to pay that money because Knight funds them. That's the idea. And it's just a different way of offering real. It's like an enhanced internship. At the Seattle Times, we had one called the residency, and that seems like an interesting balance where you learn this stuff at school, but then you go put it into practice. And that's that key part there is people are learning journalism in a variety of different ways, but you really learn it when you put it into practice. And when you're putting it into practice, what was a good quote? I heard someone write a piece saying that when they go to Columbia or where they go to J school, their goal is to go to the New York Times. There's a lot more out there than the New York Times in just newspapers alone. But then we're talking about the local communities that have a blog or a mini site that would be greatly affected if we were to send, a trained journalist to kind of help them out. And I should take that back, not trained journalist, but someone who knows media. And their skill set could be programming, their skill set could be PR, advertising, as well as storytelling, crowdsourcing, community engagement, social media. I think these skill sets, if I ran the world, and sadly I don't, is to kind of connect the dots, have folks who are starting up, that are serving the community, apply for this, and then find the skills and match them up. And I think there's an opportunity there.
It sounded like you were talking about not making them longer than just a semester so that it doesn't put a burden on the startups or on the...
So there's this thing, traditional, there's 4-credit internships depending on the school structure. When I was in Seattle, we had one that was every quarter. So every, 10 weeks are starting over. Training, and by the time they get to know what they're doing, they have to leave. Then there's the semester or the summer. But there's this thing of a residency. But with the residency, the previous ones, for better or for worse, tend to be unpaid. So a residency is an entry-level job for someone who's trying to get a job for the first time that's going to have high impact. And it's not just doing a drive-by journalism. They're not just parachuting in. They're going to be invested in the community, and therefore going to be a better addition to the startup or the local site, or even the local newspaper or station, news organization, regardless of size, but probably skewing to the smaller sizes, would have bigger impact and connect
Sounds
more.
good. Thanks so much for letting us know what you've been talking about.
Cool.
Thanks.
Welcome.